Good day, everybody, and welcome to all our Knowledge Explorers. Good day, Rose. How are you?
Yes, good day, Jane. I'm good. And also to all our Knowledge Explorers and to all our viewers, good day to everyone.
So today we are here to share learnings on one of our subjects. It is the infant and toddler programs.
Yes, now we are going to talk about Chapter 3, Understanding and Using Theories. So what does theory or theories means? So when we say theories, these are the explanations of information, observations, and life experiences. Theories are based on the thoughts and studies of one person or one group of people.
Yes, that's right, Rose. So, and also theories are explanations of natural or social behavior, like events or phenomenon. So, more formally, scientific theory is a system of construct and propositions that collectively presents a logical, systematic, and coherent explanation of phenomenon of interest within some assumption and boundary conditions. So, Rose, theories should explain why things happen rather than just describe or predict it.
Okay, so now we are going to explain and discuss to you all the theories we have here. So, meron kami dito, I guess, 14 theories at ibabahagi namin sa inyo all the things we know and learn from all of this. Hopefully, you will learn something new today.
So, yes, we will not prolong it. For more information, let's proceed to the video.
So the first theory that we have here is the relationship-based theory by Robert Hind.
So, relationship-based theory explicitly defines relationship. So, within this construct, relationship is not a general word used to describe casual contacts or moments of interaction. And relationship-based theory says that relationships are effective as the organizing force of development and the element that gives an action or feeling greater meaning and importance.
Yes, it most clearly describes the individual child's experience while also considering the social network in which he lives. It involves the recognition that children must be seen not as isolated entities, but as forming part of a network of social relationships and requires a delicate balance between conceptions of the child as an individual and as a social being.
So we have here the second one, which is this transactional and unified theory by Samiroff and Chandler.
It is developed as a way of understanding why children with similar biological risk factors at birth could have very different courses of development.
Tama ka dyan, Rose. So it also identifies the bidirectional reciprocal relationship between infants and their caregivers, and as providing several points of basis for intervention.
And also because Samiroff has combined personal change over time with the multiple environmental and cultural influences that affect personal development.
Yes, alright, Rose. Yes, that's all for transactional and unified theory.
So the third one we have here, biological system theory by Yuri Bronfenbrenner. You know what Jane Bronfenbrenner labeled or provided different aspects or labels of the environments that influence children's development, including the microsystem, mesosystem, the exosystem, the macrosystem, and the last one is the chronosystem.
So tama ka dyan, Arman. So when we say microsystem, it is the immediate settings, including the role of relationships and activities that the person actually encounters. So microsystem basically is innermost of Bronfenbrenner environmental layers or contexts.
Yes. We also have mesosystem. So when we say mesosystem, is the interconnections among an individual's immediate settings of microsystem. Also, it is the second of Bronfenbrenner's environmental layers of context.
Yes, so the third one is the exosystem, which is the social systems that children or adolescents do not directly experience, but that may nonetheless influence their development. And the third of Bronfenbrenner's environmental layers or contexts.
Yes, next we have macro system, the larger cultural or subcultural context in which development occurs. Bronfenbrenner's outermost environmental layers of context.
Okay, finally, we have the chronosystem. So this is the last one in ecological system theory. It changes the individual or the environmental that occur over time and influence the direction of development takes.
So, yeah, it considers the effects of the family, community, and society on the child. So, Bronfenbrenner begins with his belief that the primary relationship needs to be with someone who can provide a sense of caring for a lifetime.
The fourth one is eco-biodevelopmental theory by Yuri Bronfenbrenner again. So it puts together all aspects of health and understanding of the effects of stressful environments and interventions to relieve them, and the new information from the science about neurobiology and epigenetics.
So yes, sir. Also, we know now that early experiences in prenatal and in the first years of life actually affect the architecture of the brain. So the way neural connections are made and strengthened or lost, this theory takes our current scientific knowledge and applies it to the development.
Also, it provides health and intervention services that could make a significant difference in the lives and health of children. This background has traditionally contributed to poor health, poor relationships, and poor performance in school and work.
So now we have here Theory of Psychosocial Development by Erik Erikson. So it is the diagram of Erik Erikson stages of psychosocial development. So it emphasizes the individuals go through 8 distinct, predictable stages as they develop their sense of self and their relationship with others. So in this theory, and in every stages is an opportunity for the child's increased healthy development and decreased vulnerability. So in this, each stages crisis reflects a child's struggle. So yeah, that's all for psychosocial development theory.
So next we have the hierarchy of human needs by Abraham Maslow.
Yes, Abraham Maslow suggested that people are motivated to further their development because of needs that arise and the desire for growth.
Yes, Maslow hierarchy of needs is a motivational theory in psychology comprising a 5-tier model of human needs, and it is often depicted as hierarchy levels within a pyramid. So from the bottom of the hierarchy upwards, the needs are the physiological needs, the safety needs, the love and belonging, esteem, and last is the self-actualization.
Also, the theory states that humans are motivated to fulfill their needs in a hierarchical order. This order begins with the most basic needs before moving on to more advanced needs. The ultimate goal to this theory is to reach the 5th level of the hierarchy, which is the self-actualization.
Theory, we have attachment theory by John Bowlby.
Attachment theory is the study of how your relationship with your parents or primary caregivers starting in infancy lay the foundation of your future relationships in adulthood. So we have here the 4 attachment styles. The first is secure, second one is anxious, third is avoidant dismissive, and lastly, avoidant fearful.
So yes, Rose, sabi nga nila, children use the relationship with an adult in order to feel safe, and explore and learn. So, John Bowlby proposed that attachment can be understood within an evolutionary context in that the caregiver provides safety and security for the infant. So when we say attachment is adaptive as it enhances the infant's chance of survival.
Yes, also Bowlby believed that the earliest bond formed by children with their caregivers have a tremendous impact that continues through our life or throughout life.
So yeah, according to Bowlby, attachments also serves to keep the infants close to the mother, so thus improving the child's chances of survival.
Okay, so that's all for the attachment theory.
So now let's move on to the interpersonal development theory by Daniel Stern. So Stern asserts that infants experience themselves as separate beings from birth, and however, they are also always working toward greater connection with others. And Daniel Stern believes that child experiences moments in which he is aware of an internal and external experiences. And an experience of being occurs with a sense of first the self-agency, which is the ability to make things happen. Next is the self-coherence. It is the sense of being a complete entity. So the third one is the sense of continuity, and thus is the being with others. So that's wrap for our interpersonal development theory by Daniel Stern.
Next, we have the social-cultural theory by Lev Vygotsky. Vygotsky believed that adults and more knowledgeable peers teach culture, language, beliefs, customs, and highly valued activities to younger children. Let's talk about more knowledgeable others and zone of proximal development. So when we say more knowledgeable others, or also known as MKO, it refers to someone who has a better understanding or a higher ability level than the learner with respect to a particular task, process, or concept. And when we say zone of proximal development, it relates to the difference between what a child can achieve independently and what a child can achieve with guidance and encouragement from a skilled partner. So, yeah, that's it.
So let's proceed to the next theory, which is the constructivist learning theory and the stages of cognitive development by Jean Piaget.
So yes, Arman, Piaget depicted that infant and children as actively constructing their understanding of the world through their play and exploration. So we have there are three basic components to Piaget cognitive theory. So first one, we have the schema. It is the building blocks of the knowledge. So it is the adaptation process that enable the transition from one stage to another. Next, we have the equilibrium. So equilibrium describes the moments when the child's schemas and the information presented are in balance.
Yes, sama ka dyan, Jay. Next is the assimilation, which is Piaget suggested that children first try to use their existing schemas to understand new information and new experience. And also we have accommodations. So if the schemas are not adequate to explain the information, the child creates new schemas to use in a process. So when the current schemas are not adequate for exploring or explaining new information, the child's mental organization is thrown into this equilibrium.
So now let's talk about the stages of cognitive development.
So yes, we have first the sensory motor. So during the early stages, according to Piaget, infants are only aware of what is right in front of them. So they focus on what they see, what they are doing, and physical interaction with their immediate environment.
So the second stage is the pre-operational. So during this stage, the approximate the age toddler through age 7, young children are able to think about things symbolically. their language use becomes more mature, and they also develop memory and imagination, which allows them to understand the difference between past and future and engage in make-believe.
So next is the concrete operational. So at this time, elementary age and adolescent children ages from 7 to 11 years old show logically concrete reasoning. So children's thinking becomes less focused on themselves. They are increasingly aware of external events. So they begin to realize that their own thoughts and feelings are unique and may not be shared by others, or may not even be part of reality.
So we have the last stage, which is the formal operational. So adolescents who reach this fourth stage of intellectual development, usually at the age of 11 plus, are able to use symbols related to abstract concepts such as algebra and science. So they can think about things in systematic ways, come up with theories, and consider possibilities. And they also can ponder abstract relationships and concepts such as justice.
So now let's go on the next. We have a social learning theory by Albert Bandura.
So, Rose, social learning theory is now often referred to as social cognitive theory to recognize the importance of children's thinking abilities. And Bandura emphasizes that self-efficacy, the ability of humans to set goals, problem solve, and reflect. He also emphasized that what children believe about how effective they are influences how they act.
Okay, so it developed into the SCT in 1986 and posed that learning occurs in a social context with a dynamic and reciprocal interaction of the person, environment, and behavior. So there are three concepts of Albert Bandura. This asserts the most human behavior is learned through observation, imitation, and modeling.
So yes, in this, people can learn through observation. Internal mental state is essential is the learning process, and learning does not necessarily lead to a change in behavior.
So we also have core knowledge theory by Elizabeth Spelk.
So Elizabeth Spelk, a cognitive psychologist, bases her core knowledge theory on the research of infant learning. This theory proposes that humans have evolved with inborn systems or brain structures ready to learn about those things necessary to survival.
So yes, the four core knowledge systems address how infants learn about objects, agents, number, and geometry. So first, the object representation. This allows human infants to perceive object boundaries, to represent the complete shapes of objects that move partly or fully out of view, and predict when objects will move and where they will come to rest.
So the core system of agents, which are persons and animals, allows infants to recognize goal-directed actions of living things. Next is the core system of number. Has its own limits and principles. An infant will look surprised if two objects move behind a curtain but only one object comes out the other side.
So yes, and lastly, the fourth system, geometry of environment. It allows children and adults to orient themselves in relation to place in the environment. Okay, Rose, so finally we are in the last theory, which is the social interaction theory by Lev Vygotsky.
Social interaction language researchers emphasizes how the social environment interacts with biology to influence language development rather than emphasizing specific innate language structures.
Yes, social interaction theory of language development incorporates Vygotsky's social-cultural theory. So this theory argues that it is important not only for a child to hear language, but also the adults speaking the language are responsive and engage infants and toddlers in conversation.
So guys, now we're done discussing all the theories. I know marami magtatanong sa atin kung ano ba yung kahalagahan ng mga theory na to. Bakit kailangan siya pag-aralan, kailangan ba sa buhay, at paano siya magagamit sa pag-aaral. Ikaw ba, Arman, sa lahat ng pinag-usapan natin at napag-aralan, ano sa tingin mo yung mga kahalagahan ng mga theories na binanggit natin?
Okay, Rose, so the question is, what are the importance of all theories that we have discussed? So you know what? Those theories that we shared a while ago is very important. Why? Because it helps us familiarize or understand all the possible relationship or connection between those separate events, and also it provides a framework for understanding human behavior, thought, concept, and development.
Precisely, Arman. And also, theories are formulated to explain, predict, and understand phenomena, and in many cases, to challenge and extend existing knowledge within the limits of critical bounding assumptions.
Okay, Rose, so we are done discussing the chapter 3, which is understanding and using theories.
Yes, so hopefully guys, you have learned a lot from our topics for today. We still have the next topic, so ready your heart and mind to our next topic.
So this has been your Knowledge Explorers.
One, two, three, come on!
Good day again, everybody. A blissful day to all our knowledge explorers. So, Arman, in chapter 3, we shared our learnings about the understanding and using theories. So, now we're going to discuss the chapter 4, the power of observation, the learning about infants and toddlers.
Yes, precisely, Jane. No? And today we're going to share our learnings again about what is observation, what are some kind of observation, or what the other types or techniques in observation, and also the importance of this said observation. But the question, Jane, is what is observation?
Yes, so Arman, when we say observation, it is the process of watching someone or something carefully in order to gain information.
Yes, tama ka dyan, Jane. And also, when we say observation, it is the ability to notice things, especially the significant details.
Yes, so now we're going to share the different types of observation techniques.
Yes, so without further introduction, let's go now to the video.
Okay, so the first type of observation technique that we have here is the anecdotal records. So here is the example of anecdotal records. Okay, so these are brief notes that teachers take as they observe children. The notes document a range of behaviors.
Yes, so next we have the running records. So here is the example of running records. When we say running records, it is the detailed, objective, and sequential recording written while the event is happening.
Yes, the next one is the event sampling. So here is the example of event sampling. So when we say event sampling, it involves observation of targeted behaviors or specific events. Event sampling is used to determine how often a specified event or behavior occurs.
Okay, the next one is the charts and time sampling. So here is the example for this type of observation technique. Okay, so it involves developing a chart that is used to observe children's behavior at designated times.
So next we have the documentation. This is the example of documentation. So it is more than record keeping, and it is a special way of observing that records children's experiences through a variety of media. And teachers can use this, and it includes a series of photos, video recordings, and other visual means.
So next we have developmental profiles. So this is the example of developmental profiles. So when we say developmental profiles, it is a list of a sequence of behaviors in domains such as communication, emotional, social, thinking, and motor development. It is an outline of profiles of child's development.
Okay, so we also have here the own scale. So here is the example for this type of observation technique. So it is an assessment tool that supports early childhood educators in observing, assessing, and tracking the development of children between the ages 0 to 3.5. It provides early education programs with a structure and standards to support a child's growth in an age-appropriate way.
So next we have the high or scope COR infants and toddlers. So here is the example of high or scope COR infants and toddlers. So the purpose of the child observation record is to provide teachers a method for observing children's development and for determining whether the children are developing as they should be.
So the next observation techniques that we have here is the teaching strategies or goal for infants, toddlers, and youth. So this is the example of this kind of observation. So this assessment provides sequential child behaviors in 4 areas such as social or emotional, physical, cognitive, and language. It helps teachers observe children intentionally and use what they learn to respond to children's interests, strengths, and needs.
And last but not the least, the screening tools. So here's the example for this type of observation technique. Okay, so program may also use screening instruments to find out if a discussion should occur between the teachers and child's family about referral to an assessment team for a more comprehensive evaluation to determine if the child has a disability.
So we're done discussing all types of observation techniques.
Yes, you're right, Jane. No? So now, the question is, why observation is important?
Okay, so yes, Arman and Jane, observation is very important, especially to infants and toddlers. You know what? Teachers use observation to learn more about infants and toddlers. Teachers learn about an individual child's interest, development, and perspective.
Yes, Rose. So also observation is important because it is a way to connect with children and to discover their connections to others and to their environment.
That's true, no? And also observing helps you build relationships by revealing the uniqueness of every child, including child's temperament, strengths, personality, work style, and preferred mode of expression.
Okay, so now we're done sharing our learnings. We are so thankful to all our knowledge explorers for listening and giving us time to share with you those learnings that we have.
Yes, so thank you everyone for watching. This is Mary Jane Buri from Beset 3B.
This is Rosemary Ocampo from Beset 3B.
And this is John Arman de la Cruz, also from Beset 3B. And this has been your Knowledge Explorers.
So again, thank you everybody and God bless you more than you deserve.
And don't forget to click the notification bell and the like and subscribe button.
Thank you for watching.
Bye!